honor to moderate this very important event that is devoted to protect life of not only one person, but many people that most of us, we don't know about them. Let me introduce the speakers here. To the middle, let's try my direct right, Mr. Mario Mazziti. He is World Coalition Against Death Penalty chairman or founder also. And to his right is Mr. Kazunori Saito. He's Vice President of the Japan Federation of Bar Association. And to his right is Mr. Shinji Oguma. He's Secretary General, All-Party Parliamentary Group, to discuss the future of capital punishment in Japan. And we are having the Pope visit to Japan, and the death penalty is in the news that he might meet one of those on the death row, and there might be some influence to change the fate of that case. I think we will hear a lot about that. And today's event we will have to end sharp at 4 o'clock, because we have other functions in the room. So we hope that all questions are asked before that. Our guests will speak for about 20 minutes, including interpretations. Each will speak about 5 minutes, and that will be followed by questions and answers. Without further ado, I would like to start the session. Please start.
Thank you for accepting our request to brief the foreign press in this beautiful building. My name is Mario Mazziti. I'm a co-founder of the World Coalition Against the Death Penalty and of the community of Sant'Egidio, which is based in Rome, is active in 72 countries in the world, and is more known for fostering peace accords like the peace accord in Mozambique that stopped in 1992 a civil war that created 1 million people dead, or to Burundi, end of genocide, or now in Central African Republic, the first beginning of the end of massacres. But Sant'Egidio is also active in human rights advocacy, and we have been working on the abolition of the death penalty, on creating a support for a moratorium worldwide for the death penalty, and we have had a role in the approval of the first resolution of the UNGA, at the United Nations, in 2007. And from that moment on, we have backed also some abolition processes, like in Mongolia, some African countries, and we created an international movement of cities against the death penalty. And it is a long time that we are friends of Japan in interfaith dialogue, interreligious dialogue, and in activities for peace. It is not the first time that I'm here. Tomorrow we are promoting with some prestigious partners like the Bar Association, like the All-Party Parliamentarian Group, to discuss the future of capital punishment in Japan at the Diet tomorrow morning, the whole morning from 10 to 12:30. So you are kindly invited. And Mr. Akamada, the Akamada case, is his sister, and he himself, even if he has many personal problems, is a good friend of ours. And they will be tomorrow, or she will be, Akamada's sister, tomorrow there, because his health is not so good. So all the energy will be needed only for the Mass with the Pope at the time, on the day of 25th of November at the Dome in Tokyo. And tomorrow, our conference, and we will circulate the program. Please circulate all the program you already have of the symposium tomorrow. We start with the video of the Pope's position on the death penalty. As you know, the Pope declared the death penalty in 2018, rewording the catechism of the Catholic Church as always inadmissible. Always inadmissible. Can you translate in English the word inadmissible? In Japanese, the word inadmissible? Okay, this is the thing. So tomorrow we will introduce the Pope's position on the death penalty at the beginning of our conference. Then I will just, and I'm finishing my introduction, give some feedback about how the world is changing on the death penalty. We will launch again a 2020 Olympic moratorium on executions in Japan, explaining that all the world will love to touch the land of Japan, knowing that it is only a land of harmony, beauty, and life, without exceptions. And I just want to give you a small figure. The world is changing on the death penalty. In 1975, only 25 countries had abolished the death penalty. For millennia, all the world used the death penalty. It was normal, like slavery and torture. Now, we have 104 countries that abolished the death penalty for all crimes, and about 50 countries that have de facto, in practice or by law, moratoria. So we have only about 45 countries that still really want to use the death penalty. But even in the United States, last year, only 7 states used the death penalty. So there is a big change in the world, and I think that Japan would have anything to win just stopping the executions, because they have nothing to do with a safer Japan. 120 people on death row, alive, will not change anything for safety in Japan if they die, but a lot will change if they live. Thank you.
はじめまして、私は日本弁護士連合会の副会長をしております、弁護士の斉藤和則といいます。今日ここにお招きいただいてお話しする機会がありまして大変ありがとうございます。
Hello everyone. My name is Kazunori Saito. I'm the Vice President at Japan Federation of Japan Bar Association. Japan Federation of Japan Bar Association.
本日は明日衆議院会館の国際会議場で開催される、命なきところ正義なしという院内集会を日本弁護士連合会が講演しましたので、その講演者の立場として今日この記者会見に参加させていただきました。
And we are here today to announce about tomorrow's meeting that we will be having at the House of Representatives, First Members Office building. It is called No Justice Without Life. And since the Bar Association, the JFBA, is supporting this event, I am here today.
日本弁護士連合会は2016年の10月に福井市で行われた人権擁護大会で2020年までに死刑廃止を目指すという宣言をしました。
And JFBA, when we held the Human Rights Convention in Fukui City in December 2016, we declared that we would try to abolish the death penalty by 2020.
死刑廃止を求める理由についてはもうすでにいろいろ報道されておりますので、ここで詳しくは申し上げませんけれども、やはり死刑というのは、人を殺してはいけないと国が言っているのに、国が人を殺すことを認める制度だということで、これは、最もひどい人権侵害だという立場から死刑に反対して、2020年京都コングレスが 行われる2020年までに死刑廃止を目指しましょうという宣言であります。
And the reason why we are demanding the abolition of death penalty, I think the reasons already have been reported, so I won't go into the details, but the state itself is saying that the death penalty is not right, but actually it gives the right to the state to kill people, and this is not admissible, and it's a violation of human rights. That is why we are against this penalty, and we wanted to aim to abolish this penalty by 2020 when Kyoto Congress will be held.
死刑を廃止した後、どのようにするかについては、今日皆さんに、お配りしましたこのポンチエって日本語ポンチエって言うんですけれども、ここに書いてあります。簡単に言うと、死刑を廃止して仮釈放のない終身刑を作るんだと。ただ仮釈放のない終身刑であっても人は変わりうると。そういうことで例外的にその減刑制度を設けようと。簡単に言うとそういう制度設計を考えております。
And what would happen after we abolish the death penalty? It is written in this one-piece leaflet that we distributed to you today, and we are demanding that there would be a lifelong sentence that would not be illegal, and to ask for a system that would allow the commutation of sentence.
ただ死刑制度を廃止すると言っても、そのためには法律の改正が必要になります。で、法律の改正は日本においては国会において、審議され決議されて初めて法の改正が行われることになります。そういうことから日本弁護士連合会は、お隣にいらっしゃる、政治家の皆さんで作っている死刑を考える軍の会と連携してその死刑廃止の運動を進めているところです。
And in order to abolish death penalty, there has to be a revision to the law, and the law could only be amended if the Diet will review and actually decide to revise the law. That is why today we have next to me parliamentarian who is from the all-party parliamentarian group to consider the future of the death penalty in Japan. We cooperate, JFBA cooperates with this group to advance the abolishment.
日本の世論調査では 80% の人が死刑に賛成だと。死刑に反対する人は 10% に満たないというふうに言われています。ただ、質問の仕方によっては、将来死刑を廃止してもいいという方が約 40% います。ですから、これからですね、死刑廃止に向けての運動を進めることによって、世論を変えていく。そして一番強調したいのは、世界の国の142カ国の地域の方が死刑に反対または死刑の執行を停止しているという事実です。やはり、国際のそういう情勢も踏まえた上で、やはり日本もそういう日本は先進国と言われてますけれども、世界の皆さんと同じような考え方を持って、今後死刑を廃止していくことが重要なことだし、それを国民の人に理解していただいて訴えていきたいと、こういうふうに思っています。よろしくお願いします。
When we conduct opinion polls of Japanese people, it is said that 80% of the people are for death penalty, and there is less than 10% who is opposed to death penalty. However, I think this depends on how you pose the question. And actually, 40% of Japanese people say that they could consider abolishment of the death penalty. And so we must really make a movement to change the public opinion. And I think when we look at the international situation that 142 countries have actually abolished and opposed or under the moratorium of death penalty. I think Japan, as an advanced nation, we must be aligned with such a thinking and try to create people's understanding of this issue. That would be very important.
はい。今日はこういう機会を与えていただきましてありがとうございます。ご紹介いただきました衆議院議員の沼真司です。現在超党派の死刑制度を考える議員連盟の事務局長を務めさせていただいています。
Well, thank you for giving me this opportunity. I'm Shinji Ogura from the House of from a member of House of Representatives, and I am from that all parliamentarian group that bipartisan group to consider the future of death penalty.
私たちは昨年の12月5日に設立をいたしました。
Our group was established in December 5th last year.
それ以前にも死刑制度廃止議員連盟というのが超党派の議員連盟でありましたが、今日もお越しですが漆原義雄先生や亀井静香先生が引退された後、事実上の休眠状態に陥っていましたので、これをリニューアルしなきゃいけないということで、昨年の12月に再構築して立ち上げた次第です。
Actually, there used to be a parliamentarian group, the group to aim to abolish death penalty. That was also a bipartisan group. And here today we have the ex-parliamentarian, Mr. Yoshio Urushibara. He used to be a member, and also Shizuka Kamei used to be the member. But that group was actually dormant, so we decided we have to revive the group.
現在自民党の河村武雄衆議院議員を会長に遠山幹事公明党の遠山幹事長と私の三役で今総員で58名の議員連盟になっています。
Right now, from LDP, we have Takeo Kawamura as the chairman or the president of the group, and also from Komei Party, we have the general secretary, Mr. Toyama, and so I am also the chief secretary. So we are the three executives, and we have 58 members in the group.
我々この間議員連盟の活動といたしましては、数回の勉強会を開き、また今日もお越しですけれども、日弁連の皆さんのシンポジウムへの参加、また意見交換会など適宜開催をしてまいりました。
And so since our group was established, we've held study sessions and we attended symposium held by JFBA and also an exchange of exchange sessions.
勉強会については死刑制度をめぐる論点整理からまず開始をし、その後諸外国の死刑制度の導入の歴史、また現在のそれぞれの死刑を廃止した国での世論調査の結果など詳細にわたって、検証してまいりました。
So in our study session, we sorted out some of the important points of this issue, and we studied how the countries came to abolish the death penalty, and in those countries that have abolished it, we looked at how the people's opinion poll have changed.
先ほど申した通り、最初は死刑廃止という明確な目的を持った議員連盟でしたが、今回の死刑制度を考える議員連盟でしたのには一つ訳があります。
And there's one reason why we changed our group's name from abolition of the death penalty group to the group to consider the future of death penalty.
これは先ほどご紹介あった通り、死刑制度を廃止するためには立法しなければなりませんが、この前提としては国民的な議論が必要です。
And in order to abolish death penalty, there has to be a legislative process, and we need the people's understanding.
残念ながら世論調査の結果では死刑尊重派が多いのが今の日本の世論です。
Unfortunately, the Japanese opinion poll shows that the majority of people are still for retention of death penalty.
であるならば、議員連盟としましても、廃止論者だけで活動するのではなくて、存置論者も含め死刑制度と向き合おうということで、この議員連盟が立ち上がった。
So we thought, if that is the case, we should have both the abolitionists and the retentionists together to talk and discuss about the issue.
ですから、存置派、廃止派、混在する中での議員活動ではありますけれども、数回の勉強会、また日弁連さんとの連携の中で、存置派の人たちも意見が少しずつ変わってきたというふうに私は印象を持っています。
And so we are a group, mixed group of both the abolitionists and retentionists, but we've had several study sessions and also cooperation with JFPA, and through our activities, I think the retentionists have changed, some of them have changed their view a little.
その変わったという私が印象を持ったのは、これは日本の世論調査でもあります通り、日本人の多くが死刑制度は銃犯罪の抑止に役立っているという根拠のない事実を盲信しているということを明らかにした結果です。
And the impression that I got that these people are changing their opinion is because it has to do with the public opinion poll results. That most of the people are for the death penalty because they blindly believe the logic that the death penalty will work to deter vicious crimes.
ですから私は個人的な意見ですけれども、やっぱり銃犯罪防止のためにさまざまな社会制度、法整備をしていかなければならないんですけれども、死刑があることによってその議論ができていないという日本の状況を改善するためにも、この死刑制度を廃止をしていきたいというふうに思っています。
And this is my personal opinion, but in order to deter the vicious crimes, we need to build a social system. However, because there still remains the death penalty, we cannot discuss about building this kind of social system. So that is why I want to abolish this penalty.
明日のシンポジウムは川村会長もスピーカーとなって話をしますので、ぜひお越しいただきたいと思うし、私も資料配ってますけども、私自身が存置派だったんですが、廃止派に変わったきっかけとなった映画やそうした作品の紹介をしたいということでよろしくお願いします。
And tomorrow, President Kawamura will also be there. And actually, I used to be a retentionist, but I changed my mind because I have seen some movies and works, and tomorrow there will also be some works or the video shown. So I hope to see you there.
Thank you for the presentations. We like to host your questions. If you have any question, please raise your hand and proceed to the mic here. And please make your question very short because we have maximum 20 minutes to entertain most questions. We'd like to start with the journalist working members in the club. Would like the first question, please. Yes. France News Agency.
AFP 通信社西村と申しますが、斉藤先生に質問があるんですけれども、この配られた資料には、代替刑が必要である強調されてるんですけれども、私フランス人ですけれども、フランスではその廃止するかしないかの議論の時にバダンテアという有名な弁護人は、当時は、法務大臣になって、代替刑という議論は必要ないって強調してたんです。その理由は、ここにも書いてあるんですけれども、社会復帰が必要であるので、その期待があるから、人が変わるっていう期待があるから、その代替刑という議論は必要ない。ここには書いてあるんですが、代替刑っていう提案ですけれども、仮保釈処 釈放、ごめんなさい、釈放法のない終止刑ということですので、そこは、社会復帰も望んでないということですか。それとなぜその代替刑が必要ですか。
Okay, my question is.
Is it okay? I understood.
But we have to have the question on the record. Please translate.
We have I had a question for Mr. Saito. You talk in this pamphlet that you need an alternative penalty instead of death penalty, and here the logic is that you need some alternative penalty. But in France, when we abolished the death penalty, a famous minister, I couldn't get his name,
Pardante,
Justice Minister, he emphasized that there is no need for alternative penalty. And so, in this lifelong sentence that you are writing here, without parole, do you think that is needed?
今、日本の刑罰制度としては、死刑というものと、それから無期懲役というのがあります。で、無期刑というのは、文字通り、期間が定められない、言ってしまえば、ずっと刑務所にいてくださいという趣旨だと思うんですけれども、じゃあ日本で死刑を廃止するときに死刑だけを廃止して無期刑だけにすればいいのかという議論があります。でこれについては、我々日弁連はやはりその死刑に相当する、今まで死刑というふうに相当する犯罪で課されていた刑罰、これを廃止して、それでじゃあ無期刑でいいのかといったときになかなか国民の理解が得られないのではないかというふうに考えました。そこで、ただ死刑というのは絶対反対だということで、死刑に代わる刑として、仮釈放のない終身刑というものを考えたわけです。ただ先ほど質問がありましたように、人は変わりうると、ここにも書いてあるんですけれども、人は変わりうるから、絶対にもう一生刑務所の中に入れておくということではなくて、やはり変わっていく中で、減刑して場合によってはその無期刑になり、そして仮釈放が認められる、そういう減刑制度も合わせて創設しましょうという趣旨で提案しています。Thank you.
Well, the Japanese penalty system has right now a death penalty or lifelong imprisonment with hard labor. And so we thought that abolishing the death penalty and just giving lifelong sentence, will that be enough? That would become a discussion or argument. And I think that maybe we would not get people's understanding if we just said that we abolish the death penalty but give the convicted a lifelong imprisonment. So we are against death penalty. So we thought that lifelong sentence without parole might be a way to go. However, the convicted people could change, and we're not saying that they should be imprisoned for the rest of their life. If we see a change, then there could be a reduced sentence or the commutation of sentence, such as just to give them lifelong imprisonment, but with a possibility of parole.
Thank you. Quite right.
Elaine Lees, Reuters. This is to all three of our participants, just a brief answer since we don't have time. But I'm wondering, what do you expect from the Pope's visit? And what do you hope to see change?
Which newspaper is that? So, about the Pope, I think that the Pope here will be speaking and showing how life and human dignity can be protected in any case, no exception, starting from nature individuals, peoples, up to the complete refusal of war, atomic wars, weapons, and at the same time, how to respect life, even of the guilty ones. In any case, no exception. I think it will be a very important message of how, from the depth of Christianity, Jesus has love for everyone, even the crucified Jesus that was without hatred against the perpetrators of his killing, can be a solution for any society to live better in peace and safer. And probably he will, at the stadium, maybe there will be an opportunity for him to be at the presence of Mr. Hakamada that will attend the Mass.
23日からローマ法王が日本に来日される、そして、長崎、広島を訪れ、25日には、東京ドームでミサを行うということを新聞報道で聞いております。
Yes, I read in the newspaper report that the Pope will be visiting from 23rd, and he'll be going to Nagasaki and Hiroshima, and will be also conducting Mass at Tokyo Dome on 25th.
先ほども申し上げました日弁連は2016年10月に死刑廃止を目指すという宣言をしました。そして、昨年、ローマ法王が、教理書というんでしょうか、カテキズムをちょっとそれはカテキズムですか、そこで死刑を廃止すべきだということを宣言されたこと、とても心強く思っております。
And as I mentioned before, JFPA has declared to aim to abolish death penalty in October 2016. And last year, the Pope also declared the abolishment of death penalty in the Catechism, and that was very encouraging.
ただ今回の来日にあたりまして、日弁連が直接法に対して、アクションをしたとかされたとかそういう事実はありません。従いまして、法がこれから長崎、広島、そして、東京でどのような報道をされ、どのような発言をされるかということについては、とても関心を持っています。
And this Pope's visit to Japan, we've not taken any action directly. The JFPA has not taken any direct action towards his visit. So we are very keenly watching what kind of action he will take or what his message will be in Nagasaki, Hiroshima, and Tokyo.
ローマ法王が、死刑の廃止について何かメッセージを発するかどうか、これは分からないことですし、仮にそういうメッセージを発したとしても、そのローマ法王がお話ししたことを、例えば日弁連がそれをなんていうのかな、味方につけて死刑廃止の運動につなげようとか、そういうことは考えていません。やはりこれは皆さんが、国民がローマ法の言葉を聞いて、自分の心で何を感じるかということが大事だというふうに思っていますので、そういう意味でローマ法王がどんな言葉をしたのかとても
So we do not know what kind of will he give a message on the death penalty abolition. Even if he does, JFPA does not want to take advantage of his words. We will leave it to Japanese people to directly listen to his word and see how people will react. In that sense, we are also very much focusing on the Pope's words.
私ローマ法に期待をしたいのは、明確に死刑制度を廃止してほしいというコメントを確認していただきます。
What I'm expecting of the Pope is I'd like him to clearly tell the Japanese people to please abolish the death penalty.
カテキズムを修正をして明確に死刑を廃止した意義をしっかりと日本国民にも伝えてほしいと思います。
I'd like him to tell Japanese people why he has revised the catechism to abolish the death penalty.
日本人にはカトリック信者は少ないわけでありますけれども、日本人のローマ法に対する本数の念というのは大変高いものがあると思います。
There are very few Catholics in Japan, but I think they hold a high respect for the Pope.
多くの日本人は死刑について制度論とかまた人権とかといったアプローチはしてません。情緒的に被害者の立場に立って死刑制度を維持しようとしていますから、まさに心に響く話をローマ法にしていただきたいと思います。
Most Japanese do not look at the death penalty from the system, legal system, or the human rights perspective. They look at it emotionally from the victim's perspective. That is why I'd like the Pope to give a message that really strikes people's hearts.
Thank you. This was. Yes, please.
Okay.
If you.
質問じゃなくて明日のことですけど。
Okay, Anthony, please. We need a question. Yeah. All right. Let me insert a question. I read some statement that real justice cannot be served by killing, and can only be served by bringing the dead victim to life again, which is impossible. But the feeling of the victim family is very severe usually, and in many societies, they want revenge and they want justice, and they think justice is by killing the person, and this is based on some religious maybe death, eye for eye, teeth for teeth. So it's really a religious issue. It's like God said, we have to kill the person who killed. So how can you deal with this situation that God said that it's not? Thank you.
If I may answer this question, well, first, I really invite you, and will ask the president of FCCJ to the Secretary General to handle the text of my intervention tomorrow, because it will contain more detailed answers also to this question.
We will distribute it later. It's not available.
So it will be polycopied and given to you later. But even in the Bible, an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth, is an intermediate position. It starts from a worse position, revenge 70 times 7, then an eye for an eye, and then at the end there is the Jesus and says never. So there is an evolution in the Bible and in the sacred text. Second thing, the families of victims worldwide very often ask, please do not add another killing in our name, because it does not give back the life of the person that is dead, and it freezes in the worst moment of their life, the moment of hatred. So it is growing the movement of the families of murderous victims that say, please don't kill anymore, not in our name. And even the killings, the executions, 99 times executions are not given to the people. Death sentences are not given to murderers. 1 out of 100 cases are covered by the death penalty and execution. So if this is the way to give back justice to the families, 99 times the state does not give justice, only 1 time. So this argument is completely not an argument, if possible. Second, and then I will conclude, so I will not intervene anymore, I wanted to say, you raised the problem of the polls, of the public opinion, France. When France abolished the death penalty, Mr. Badinter abolished it, and Mitterrand, the public opinion was split, 50-50. So it was not waiting for a change in the public opinion. So we need leadership ruling classes, not followship ruling classes. To base democracies on polls can risk the death of democracy. Because we have parliamentarian democracies, and we do not follow the mood of the majority. If in Italy you ask, do you want to abolish taxes? 90% would say yes. But then Italy would die. Is that democracy? No. So the second problem is that it is the way you make polls. So people cannot answer in a good way if they do not know anything about it. And there is no debate, no awareness on that. So in concluding, why we are here? We have the Bar Association, we have the parliamentarians discussing about the future of the death penalty. There is the international support that I represent. I think we are trying to accompany and help this process, because the future of the death penalty is that the world is going towards a future without the death penalty. We do not want that. Japan is the last one in this process. It is not a matter of when, it is not a matter of if, it's only a matter of when. That's it.
Thank you.
So,
last question. Sarah, in English, very short, please.
Okay.
Hi, Marius-san, I have a question for you. 11 years ago, I was a journalist and covering the story of a European humanitarian NGO came to Japan to investigate the death penalty in Japan. But after 11 years, I have impression it got worse and worse. For example, just one example, LDP had a sake bar, drunk reception the night before of execution of 7 of 13 almost execution a few years ago. Yes, yes. To boost Mizu Kamikawa, at that time she was a former Minister of Justice, to make her encouragement, give her encouragement to sign the paper for the permission of this penalty of the following morning. How do you see those kind of attitude of legislature of Japan in contrary to European politicians that you've observed and you've seen? Thank you.
Maybe Mr. Obama also might comment on this, because he's politician first.
私が総理になったら斉藤さんを法務大臣にしてすぐ死刑廃止します。
If I become Prime Minister, I will appoint Mr. Saito as the Justice Minister and abolish death penalty.
yes, I think that, well, the European Union respects Japan and does not interfere in internal affairs, of course. But European Union abolished the death penalty not because it is soft on crime. European Union abolished the death penalty because it is the top expert in killing in human history. First World War and Second World War, so the European Union abolished the death penalty after the Second World War, because step by step, each country enough with death. Democracy and death cannot go together. Justice and death cannot go together. This was European Union. Now, as friends, we put this at your disposal. And if from legislation to legislation, the MPs change their mood, I'm not surprised, because it happens like the public opinion. Sometimes they are courage ruling class, sometimes they are not so courage to be different from the public opinion. Now, I know that all Japanese would have all to win by stopping killings and joining, being closer also to the European Union. In this moment, even in the United States, it is 20 years that executions decline. And if you think that only 7 states used it out of 51 over the last year, you will understand that even in the United States, it's going to disappear. For the first time, Republican parliamentarians have started to be against the death penalty because they want to be consistent with respect of life from the beginning to the end. So I think that to be more friends between EU and Japan, Italy and Japan, would be beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you, and with the word beautiful, we end our event today. It's also beautiful harmony, Rewa era. So thank you very much for coming. Please give a big round of applause to our guests, and you have to come. Have a nice evening.